turning to what is happening and the broader conflict in the Middle East, we've now seen 3 different U.S. strikes against Houthi targets in just the last week or so, responding to weeks of drone attacks from them and missiles fired at U.S. assets, at commercial ships in the Red Sea. We've even seen U.S. service members injured, at least one critically. Do you believe that this strategy is now the right one? Right, the U.S. had said, if you cross this line, we're going to respond. There was a line crossed, and now the question is, should there be more strikes like this from the U.S.? What will it achieve?
Well, first of all, you can't state something and then not follow up on it. It shows lack of resolve and weakness. Secondly, I thought the strikes, while good, were long overdue. I don't think you can allow a terrorist group like the Houthis to strike commercial shipping, threaten United States Navy warships with impunity. So I think it was the right thing to do. Our goal ultimately is deterrence. They are not yet deterred. I think when the Pentagon announced the strikes last week, they said the aim was to degrade and disrupt the Houthis' ability to conduct such strikes. I believe they've done some of that, but clearly a good chunk of their capacity remains. And I think we should continue doing so until we completely degrade their capability to do it or ultimately achieve deterrence. I would argue that we should go after their command and control sites as well. Okay. And that will also add to it. But I think this is going to take a while, unfortunately, until we get them to stop commercial shipping. And look, the fact is, people will argue, well, we just shouldn't do it. We can't do it. And my view is, what's the option? You just can't allow 12% of commercial trade, 30% of container traffic to get disrupted through this vital strait. And the economic harm it'll do around the world is, can be measured in dollars and time.
Yeah, for sure. I want to show you this new video of Houthis dancing on the deck of the Galaxy Leader ship in the Red Sea, the same ship Houthi rebels seized at the end of last year. When you talk about deterrence, again, the question is, how do you deter that? I mean, the reason that they are carrying this out, they're saying, is because of the U.S. support for Israel in its war against Hamas. And that support is not going to wane. So do you believe that what these Houthi rebels, about to be declared, terrorist organization by the Biden administration, can be deterred?
Well, we don't know, but we have to try, right? They certainly have an appetite for conflict with the United States. It's part of their philosophy, if you will. They subscribe to the same Shia view of the United States and Israel that Iran does, death to Israel, death to Iran. I'm sorry, death to the United States. But look, at the end of the day, I've said this repeatedly, Iran is supplying, supporting, inspiring, funding all these activities, whether it's the Houthis in southern Yemen or Hezbollah, Hamas, the Shia militia groups in Iraq, you name it. So, we have to get together, the Western democracies and the Arab states, quite frankly, and figure out a plan to ultimately deal with Iran, to staunch these flows of weapons and material and funding going into these countries, or else this is just going to continue. The cycle of violence and terrorism will go on for, another 4 decades? And that's what we're up against.
Quickly, the Biden administration is about to redesignate Houthis as a specially designated global terrorist entity, not specifically a foreign terrorist organization. But this is something that they rescinded, that the Trump administration had put in place right at the end. I think it was January 11th. And then the Biden administration came in, undid that. Now they're redoing it. Why does it matter? What difference will it make?
Well, I think it makes a difference because it'll apply a certain amount of sanctions on the Houthis, the ability for the United States to trade with them, to deal with them. It'll place other constraints as well. I think it was a mistake to withdraw the sanctions in 2021. I understand why they thought that might work, but the other part of this is that while they designated one set of sanctions, especially designated global terrorist, the Biden administration are not applying the foreign terrorist organization sanctions, which are far stiffer. They have criminal penalties. And the concern is it might somehow prevent or scare off humanitarian groups, humanitarian aid going into the people of Yemen. It seems to me that we can find a way to kind of carve that out while still applying the full weight of U.S. sanctions on the Houthis. And by the way, I don't think U.S. sanctions are sufficient. We should have global sanctions. Certainly the Western democracies and others apply sanctions on the Houthis to kind of stop this bad behavior from them and to curtail their attacks on the Red Sea shipping.